Good morning, all of you. So we are soon starting. Please stay tuned.
Hi, good morning all. I am audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you're audible.
Hi all of you, good morning to all. I welcome you all in the Zero Waste series, which is being jointly organized by DAV College Bathinda, Central University of Punjab Bathinda, and INIAS, that is Indian National Young Academy of Science, New Delhi. I, Dr. Kriti Gupta, on behalf of DAV College Bathinda, extend warm welcome to you all and special thanks to my other colleagues, especially Dr. Alex Parr, for joining this series. This Zero Waste series is organized to inculcate consciousness among masses in relation to their surroundings and environment. This series will mainly focus on three R's: reduce, recycle, and reuse. Leading a zero waste lifestyle is simple, cost effective, self-sufficient, and entirely possible for everyone and anyone. This series will feature 9 virtual talks by some of the eminent speakers and scientists in the field of environmental sustainability. The purpose of this series is to spread awareness about sustainability, low carbon footprints lifestyle, and minimizing waste. It will sanitize the public why to adopt a carbon neutral lifestyle, embracing environmentally conscious approach. The key message is less consumerism, that is buying less or lead to wasting less. Here are some key mantras on how to go towards zero waste. First, minimize, then avoid non-sustainable products, save energy, switch to energy efficient appliances, buy less, waste less, recycle, upcycle. Now I invite Dr. Alex to say a few words about this series.
Stop share. There is an option there. Stop share on the top. Yes.
Now I invite Professor V.K. Garg from Central University of Punjab, Bathinda to say a few words about this series and inaugurate our session. Professor V.K. Garg, I am audible?
Sir, you are muted, so please unmute yourself. Professor Garg, please unmute and you can speak.
Okay.
You're still muted, sir.
I'm on mute now.
Yeah, now it's fine. Yes.
Oh, okay. Very good morning to all of you. I'm thankful to DAV College Bathinda, Central University of Punjab, and NIAS New Delhi that during this lockdown period, they have planned this virtual or online workshop on zero waste, that is a step toward sustainability. Waste generation itself a very big issue. Almost all the nations, all the policymakers, all the scientists all over the world are struggling how we can achieve this zero waste approach, or how the waste generation can be minimized. As far as this waste generation is concerned, waste generation is as old phenomena as old is the appearance man on the earth. According to Bible, that first of all, Adam and Eve appeared on this earth. Adam gave an apple to Eve for eating. Apple was eaten by the Eve, and peels of the apple were thrown. I think at that very moment, generation of solid waste was started in this world. But if I talk 500 years back or 1000 years back, we all know that population was less. Whatever waste was generated, that was generated either from our houses, means domestic waste, and agricultural waste, and plenty of land was available. And if I talk nature wise, most of the waste at that time in the past was organic in nature, so people used to dispose it in open, and this will get degraded automatically. But since the industrial revolution in 1850s, scenario has completely changed. After 1850s, industries have boomed like anything all over the world. And you know that these industries started producing liquid waste, solid waste, gaseous waste, all kind of waste are produced by these industries. And there was no strict regulation, there were no stringent rules in different countries, particularly in the developing world. As a result of that, these industries started disposing their waste as their will. Means none of the industry was interested to share a part of their income for the treatment of this waste. And you all know that we have faced a number of accidents because of disposal of this solid waste in open by these industries, as well as even by our municipalities. You visit any city, any village, in the outskirts of every city and every village, these are the heaps of the garbage that welcome anybody. So after industrial revolution, the waste that is generated by the industry, that is having toxic element, that is having biorefractory substances, and that is having that kind of elements like heavy metals, pesticides, and so many other things that contaminate the environment and persist in the environment for very long periods. Dr. Felix, unmute everybody. I think I'm getting a lot of noise. Yes. So to handle this waste, we have to develop technology. And for the development of technology, we have to infuse money. Even after the infusion of money, after the development of technology, we are not able to handle the waste. In the last few decades, every day different kind of waste is coming. Even if I talk in last 3-4 months, you all know because of this COVID, new kind waste generation has started. We are supposed to handle the face masks. We are supposed to handle these sanitizer bottles. We have to handle the personal protective equipment which are used by the medical staff. Means a new kind of biomedical waste is coming. Over there also, everybody, particularly environmental scientists, are really worried that how to handle these kind of waste. If I go 30-40 years back, uh, the computer appeared in our life, and electronic items appeared in our life. And because of that, you all know that e-waste generation started in this world. What is e-waste? E-waste is nothing but these are the electrical and electronic items which are not of any use to the owner. And these include even our pen drive, even our floppy disks, our laptops, our computer, hard disk, these and our fridges, television, these all come under the category of e-waste. And because of this e-waste, rather a new phenomena has started, that is the transboundary movement of the hazardous waste. In 1990s, you will see that a number of Pentium 3 computers from the US were exported to USA in the name of their reuse in India, and these all reached to the ports of Chennai. And once these reached to the Chennai, over there the recyclers took them, and then to recover the materials, they burnt those e-waste items, and that created lot of air pollution in that area. As far as India is concerned, and if I go 10 years back, there was no organized sector for the management, for the handling, for the refurbishment of these electronic waste items. Anybody can use or can recycle or refurbish these, you can say, e-waste items. And that was responsible for the generation of lot of air pollution. And even when people were burning these items, these recyclers were burning these items, the lot of ash, toxic ash, particularly that containing metallic components, that was going into water bodies also. But in 2016, Government of India has passed the e-waste management rules. In 2016, all the solid waste management rules have been revamped by the Government of India under Environment Protection Act 1986. Let me give you another example. Before 2016, we were having the Municipality Waste Management Act. But it has been revamped as solid waste management rules in 2016. Reason being, once we say municipality solid waste management rules, means we are talking about the municipalities existing in the country. Means these rules are applicable only to the 15 or 20% part of the country, and the remaining part means was not having any other kind of rules. So our scientists, our policy makers, they thought about this, and they changed those rules as the solid waste management rules. And the solid waste management rules are such that these are applicable to the every part of the country. Similarly, Government of India has now passed the earlier we were having hazardous waste management rules, but now Government of India has changed them to hazardous waste and their transboundary movement rules in 2016. Means transboundary movement of hazardous materials has been restricted. So if I come back to the e-waste management rules 2016, in these rules, responsibility of the user, responsibility of the producer, and responsibility of these dealers, etc., has been fixed. That now they cannot give their unusable items to anybody. Even if you visit the Punjab Punjab Pollution Control Board website, they have identified about 15 or 20 e-waste recyclers. So in your college or in your house, if you have any e-waste item, please don't dump it as such. See the list from this website of the Punjab Pollution Control Board. This list is available on the website of almost every state pollution control board. and make a call them. The name of contact person and his detail or everything is given over there. So you contact him or her and call them for giving your e-waste to them. And along with this, recently, Government of India has revamped biomedical waste rules also. So I think development of these technologies and these regulation and laws in the country, which have been revamped recently, help a lot to move toward a zero waste approach. You will also know that in India, we all are affected by a syndrome, and I usually called it as a Nimby syndrome, Nimby. Nimby means not in my backyard. You might have seen people in the evening taking their waste in a polythene and disposing it here and there along the roadsides and in the open plots, etc. So we have to educate people that please don't do this. Dispose your waste at a proper place. Yes, coming back, that Government of India at the moment is really worried about the waste, solid waste in particular. And I think we are the only country in which such a massive program named as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan or Clean India Mission was started on 2nd October 2014 by our Honorable Prime Minister. And the results of that program are now visible. Before that program, open defecation was very common in India. And this was really a shame for everybody, even our politician, our businessmen, our heads of the families, for everybody, that women are going for the open defecation in the agricultural field in the early hours of the day. So Government of India has made crores and crores of the toilets in the villages and in urban areas. Emphasis has been given to this street sweepings and municipality solid waste. You might have seen at the railway stations also that now scenario is completely changed. Earlier, it was really difficult to see toward the railway tracks. They were full of the filth, fecal matter, etc. But now you will find they are very clean. Even in many trains, the Government of India now is giving these bio toilets also. So I think these all these efforts which have been made by the scientists, policymakers, Government of India are helping us to move toward the zero waste approach. I really wish for a day that when we will have zero waste, although we never can have zero waste, but we will be managing our 100% waste. And means, and to recently I was attending a conference on the waste, and the basic mantra that was given in the conference was that whatever technology you have, you cannot manage your waste. For the management of waste, we have to start from our home. And the very first step towards the waste management or zero waste approach is segregation of the waste at the point of generation. What we are doing in our houses, whatever waste is generated, we are mixing all the waste, putting in one polythene and disposing it outside in our wherever we want to dispose it. So once we mix the waste, it is really very, very difficult for any technology to treat that waste, because a technology cannot treat all kind of waste. Different kind of technologies are there for the different type of waste. So once we segregate, I'll again request the organizers, please try to have somebody who can talk about the segregation of waste at home, because that is one of the most important step toward achieving the zero waste approach. With these words, I will close. Thank you very much, organizer, that you have given me a chance to share my views. Thank you very much. Over to the organizers.
Thank you, sir, for such a sharing your valuable ideas regarding the zero waste. And I'll definitely try to give some lecture on the zero waste regarding the usage of the household waste into the vermicompost and all that stuff. Now I'll invite my principal, Professor Praveen Kumar Garg, to say few words regarding this series.
Good morning. to all the distinguished personalities on this occasion of organizing Zero Waste Series. In today's time, when we all are entangled with abnormal environment changes, outbreak of diseases, and fast pace of growing population, DEV College Bhatinda considered it as a prime responsibility to arrange a webinar series which will address such pertinent topics of today. I am greatly indebted to Central University of Punjab Bhatinda and NSYES New Delhi for joining hands with us to spread a word of awareness among the masses. Zero waste is a set of principles focused on waste prevention that encourages the redesign of resource life cycles so that all products are reused. It is a whole systematic approach that aims at for a massive change in ways material flow through society, resulting in no waste. The indisposed waste cause a lot of harm to our environment and breeds various diseases, which calls for taking immediate steps. Managing waste is not impossible, provided each of us should get involved and save our environment from major disasters. As responsible citizens of this country, it becomes our responsibility to actively participate in this campaign and make our country clean and attractive. A zero-based approach can thus build community, community capacity, support marginalized communities, and protect community health. Leading a zero-based lifestyle is simple, cost-effective, timely, fun, and entirely possible for everyone and anyone. To deliberate deep on this subject, we have an amalgamation of eminent speakers and scientists from across the globe who will make us aware and act in regard to sustainability, low carbon footprint, lifestyle, and minimizing waste. DAV College Bhatinda always makes effort to work for the community at large and contributes by getting actively engaged in welfare activities. This webinar series on zero waste is such an attempt at helping students, staff, and other audience rise to their occasion and contribute their bit in making this world a better place for our future generations. I am once again thankful to the Vice Chancellor, Central University of Punjab Bhatinda, Professor Kohli sir, and INYAS New Delhi for joining hand with DAV College in this noble cause. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I am audible?
Yes.
Now I invite Professor Chandrasekhar Sharma, IIT Hyderabad, Department of Chemical Engineering and President of INEAS to say a few words regarding this series.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, all the listeners and viewers for this Zero Waste webinar series. I must congratulate the organizers, Kriti Gupta and Felix Burst from Central Punjab University, Bhatinda, to organize this webinar series on such an important topic of relevance for all of us, zero waste. So as I was told that there are total 9 talks and out of which 4 will be by INEAS members. So I must thank all the speakers to share their views in this seminar, which will be definitely beneficial for all of us. So as far as coming to the topic of this webinar series, zero waste. So as we know that it's one of the major tasks to achieve the sustainable development goals, which we all nations are trying. And this concepts of waste management, as Professor Garg mentioned in the detail, that there are certain guidelines, regulations by the government of India and also by the different state governments. But I would emphasize on the fact that it's not just only the government regulations which matter in achieving the zero waste or sustainable development goals, but I think it's larger participation of the community and the society which matter most in all these programs. And of course, Swachh Bharat mission is one such example before us. So as far as waste management is concerned, I think there are three major steps for that. As we all know, I am just reiterating that we cannot achieve the zero waste unless we do emphasis equally on recycling, reuse, and reduce. So first we need to start with the reducing the waste itself at our source, and then if any waste at all, if it is generated, we need to think about how to reuse it. And if not, after that, we need to come up with the innovative ideas to recycle that waste. So I think these are the three key words in any successful waste management approach. Uh, and we must emphasize on these three keywords right from the beginning in the school kids, so that in next couple of in next few years, we can still achieve the target of zero waste at a community level. Because without community participation, with only government rules and regulations, I think it's not possible to achieve that. And as Professor Garg mentioned rightly, the waste segregation is really one of the major steps towards achieving this. And I think this segregation has to be done at the source itself, because later, once all the waste is mixed, it's almost impossible to do that. And I think there is a positive trend in the at least urban areas. I can just say an example of my own community, where we have a recycler which who comes once in a week, and we are supposed to segregate the wet and the dry waste. Of course, there may be further segregation, but this is something which is very essential: wet and dry waste at the source. And then this guy comes in a week and collects it and recycles it at its own place. So this is something I think which is encouraging trend in major urban areas, major gated communities, which we need to take to the further grassroots level. Well, as a part of DST Waste Management Committee, I am inviting all the nice ideas and the proposals for this committee to consider for the funding as well, because this is one of the such committee of under the technology development program of DST, in which we encourages the ideas right from the lab scale to the pilot scale, and then for the final implementation with the industry. And again, there is no limitation in terms of funding if idea is worth. And as I again, Dr. Very well described, that even the e-waste, it is now becoming a big source of pollution for all of us. And since India is now towards one of the major user of the electronic items with this new digital world, I think this is a big challenge for all of us to. And I am very glad that Dr. Nikhil Dhawan from IIT Roorkee will be talking about especially the e-waste management in his talk in the series. So well, with this, I again congratulate the organizers to put this very relevant topic for the viewers. And again, INEAS will be very happy to extend all the support to organize such webinar series, which are basically for the welfare of the society at large. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And also, I will be really thankful to you for giving me opportunity at the college level to organize this zero waste series in collaboration with INEAS. Thanks a lot. Really thankful to you. And now I invite Dr. Felix Vast to introduce our series and introduce our first speaker.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kriti. So I would like to please allow me to share my screen. All right, so we are now in the zero waste series. We just began the series, and it will be from 16 to 18. This is for 3 days workshop, And please remember to attend all the lectures. So this is very important for getting the certificate. I'm really thankful to Reddit as well. There are a lot of international viewers watching from different countries. And I've been actively participating in many of the subreddit communities, including Zero Waste. The name of the Zero Waste itself is inspired by the Reddit sub-community name, and anti-consumption as well as sustainability. These three communities, a lot of participants. Thank you so much for your active participation in this webinar, and welcome you all from a perspective from India. So how we are actually segregating and what kind of contributions that humble contributions that some of us are doing on this field. And the schedule is that today we are starting with Vani Murthy from SWMRT in Bangalore. It's from 11 to 12 and followed by 12:30 to 1:30. So it's only 30 minutes break. Rajpal Makhni, a very famous organic farmer, and he's also an entrepreneur from Punjab. He's also here with us right now in the panel. And today the final talk will be by Dr. Ranjit Kumar from Dayal Bagh Education Institution from Agra, and he's also a member of INIAS along with me. We will also have Professor Kadambot Siddiq tomorrow morning. He is a director of the University of Western Australia in Perth. Then Dr. Nikhil Dhawan from IIT Roorkee. He's also a INIAS fellow, and my own talk will be tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. And Dr. Rifat John from University of Kashmir, she's also a member of the INIAS. Dr. Adesh Paul Wig from GNDU Amritsar. Professor Wig is also already here with us today, right now. And followed by Aditi Muralidhar from HBCSC, that is TIFR in Mumbai. That will be the concluding session before the valediction function. And that will be on the 18th, the June 18th. And now coming to the zero waste itself is a meditation, friends. Being mindful of the environment and acknowledging the fact that only we have very few number of days left in the planet, and that is mantra is called memento mori in ancient Stoicism. So we have to think about our own death to appreciate the days that we count on the planet Earth. So caring for today's children and unborn posterity has to be the priority of the day. So zero waste is nothing new. That the concept of zero waste is as old as humanity. So it is only that the perils of modernity is why we are squandering the resources and nothing but urban vanity, friends. I will talk more on zero waste in my own talk that is scheduled tomorrow. And if you look at the way the Amazonian tribe is living, the uncontacted tribes in Amazonian rainforest, or here itself, our own India in Andaman and Nicobar Island, we have North Sentinel, uncontacted tribes of North Sentinelese, how they are living a sustainable lifestyle without any plastic. So this one is what we have to follow. We have to go back to the nature. That is our, the spirit of this zero waste series. And this is one of my favorite book. Of course, you know all. This is Nassim Nicholas Taleb. He's a world famous. He's a philosopher, and he said something called Harvard Soviet illusion. It's a very interesting the concept that majority of the academic research is not really focusing on the real life thing. So the academicians usually what they do is that they lecture the birds how to fly, and they actually develop a very complicated mathematical equations and quantum physics concepts, and showing how the birds are flying and how to actually optimize the flight taken by the birds. So this is not a solution at all, friends. And in his book, he's saying 99.9% of the publications, even those in high impact factor journals and patents, are only two purposes: help the author to get a job and get a promotion. So it's kind of shameful for what is actually happening in the real life in the academic world. So if you search out in the solid waste management and nanotechnology, you can see so many of these papers, how we can use nanotechnology to address the organic waste, and in very, very high impact factor journals. And what is the real impact of any of these findings? Almost nil, really. Then comes our first speaker here. And before that, you might know already the Oxham's razor concept is proposed by 14th century British philosopher. Oxham's razor is all about the simplicity. William of Ockham is the guy who he is a philosopher. He proposed this idea. So if a simple solution can get the things done, why should we go for a complicated solution? That is actually the thing. So if a simple straight razor can give you a close enough shave, why would you have to go for a 4-blade or 6-blade cartridge, or go with this kind of extremely complicated solutions like the nanotechnology? Friends, I'm really humbled to have Vani Murthy with us here. Mrs. Murthy is a well-known person who is actually a champion of the composting, and she's referred to as the composting queen, and also the earthworm Rani, some media refer as earthworm Rani, says. So as you can see, this is a report in Hindu. Let me read out for you. So this one is that 4 years ago, Vani set her aim. So, this is what one of the experience that, I don't see that here. It's about the auto driver. I have already shared this story with you all, right? So that she has actually said that there is one very interesting incident that she actually went to Malaysia and met one auto driver, and auto driver is supposed to, he was actually stumbled upon seeing her face, and aren't you, Vani, I'm also doing the segregation of the waste. So she is the, the prima facie example of how waste segregation and composting is actually coming into the real life. If you look at that, I have already shared with all of the participants her TEDx video, the talk on sustainability, a fantastic talk. And, of course, she don't have any publication. She's not from academic field, but her talks have got a lot of impact, friends, a tremendous impact. For example, this is her talk, how to compost an apartment. Look at the views, 5,37,000 views. And many people have been influenced by her talk, including me. I'm also her big fan. And thank you so much, Mrs. Murthy, for accepting my invitation. And I'm really humbled to have you here. If you look at her, the fans and the people who are following her advices on composting, this is the urban landscape of Bangalore. Vast people, millions, I would say, millions are actually performing this one. So this her real impact of her real life contributions remain tremendous. And we academic researchers are nothing in front of you, ma'am. And thank you so much for accepting my humble invitation. And we are really privileged to have you here. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we cannot talk about waste unless we understand what happens to our waste, right? So basically, where does our waste end up? It goes to the landfill. It's picked up from all our homes and it ends up in the landfill. And that landfill is such a polluting area because it's just mountains of garbage. It's nothing scientific there. It gets dumped, it gets compacted, again dumped. So Bangalore generates around 4,500 tons per day, and everything ends up in these landfills. And most problem is the organic waste that decomposes in these landfills anaerobically, and they give out methane, which is even more toxic than carbon dioxide, maybe 20 times or 25 times more toxic than carbon dioxide. And also from these mountains of garbage flows out a lichet, a dark fluid that flows out from these landfills, and they enter the groundwater and also pollute the soil around. They're highly toxic, which flows because of the organic waste getting decomposing in an anaerobic fashion. So this enters groundwater, pollutes the groundwater, and there are villages around these landfills where these villages are growing our food. So somewhere what we throw out is coming back to us in some form or the other. As the previous speaker had told, that we need to take responsibility of our waste, and this is something that we all need to understand, that our waste is our responsibility, and just by putting it out of our home, we don't know where it goes and what kind of impact it has. Unless we understand that, we will not ever resolve this problem of waste, because it is every individual, every citizen that has to take responsibility of the waste he or she generates. So what is waste? Is end of use for us. We need to keep our homes clean, and once the waste is done with, we want it out of our homes. So if we look at waste, 90% of it is recyclable, right? It's 60% of what we generate is kitchen waste, organic waste. Another 20 to 30% is something that's recyclable, like paper, every bit of paper, including your cinema tickets. It could be your bus tickets, a bill, any paper that can go back for recycling, metal, glass, plastic, everything can be recycled. That's 20 to 30%. And then finally, what is left is the reject waste. It's the sanitary waste, hazardous waste. Those are the ones that needs to be managed. So when we look at waste as a resource, we look at how we can, divert it away from going to the landfill. So ultimately, segregation at source is the most important thing. But I would like to emphasize a little more on what happens even before we, segregate our waste. There are different components of waste. But firstly, people always talk about the 3 R's, refuse, reuse, and recycle. But on top of this pyramid is refuse. Refuse comes much earlier. So we practice that. I'm a homemaker. I belong to a group called SWMRT. More than 10 years back, we came together as a group and we went and visited the landfill. And after that, we realized that it's so important for us to understand that we need to create awareness amongst the citizens. So we started campaigns, and these campaigns led us to, feel strongly, because we found so many people joining us. And this was very important for us to take it across Bangalore. And today we are a force to reckon with, because there is a huge difference we have made by just understanding waste, creating models, and getting people to, simplify it and make them responsible for what they generate. So as I said, on top of the pyramid is refuse. And to us, that's the most exciting part. How do I reduce waste? By refusing it. So today is a culture. This is a culture of, disposables. Like we all of us are use and throw culture, which is not part of our culture. It's borrowed from the West. And anything that is single use disposable should be completely, we should completely do away with that. So reuse should be the main thing. So I will just do a small demo on so many things that we can refuse as a good citizen of this planet, because this planet is something that we haven't inherited, but we have borrowed it from the future. It's an amazing saying that stays in my head all the time, because either we give the planet the way we received it, or make it better, but don't trash it, because waste has become such a humongous problems amongst everybody. So this is something that we have practiced as a group, and we are high on social media, talk about it. So there is so much of movement around refusing, that is bring your own bottle, and different kinds of hashtags and people talking about it. So firstly, we are not allowing anything that leaves our home. We have to be responsible, including when people cut their milk packets. If you chop off this little plastic, that goes into your waste, you don't know where it's going to end up. So waste ends up not just the landfill, it ends up in the lakes, in the rivers, in the oceans. It's everywhere. It's in the drain that blocks. When the rain falls, the drains block because there's so much of garbage in the drain. So I'm starting off saying that even this little piece of, when you cut your milk, leave it in the sachet, so that this is a recyclable one. So this can go, and this doesn't get lost, this doesn't end up, because this will stay on this planet for a very long time. So I'm starting with that and saying that we need to, actively say no to bottled water, because again, this is used once and throw. Make a habit of carrying your own bottle everywhere you go. So for me, I have my own kit that I carry in my handbag, which has things that I can refuse. Wherever I go, I can refuse, the disposable. So this is number one. The second thing is when there is plastic ban, people have banned plastic covers, the carry bags, but there are a lot of people who still give carry bags, and also they have replaced it with something called the cloth bag. But this is not a cloth bag. What you get is the polypropylene non-woven bags, which are given in place of the plastic bags. And this is again extremely bad for the planet. This is non-recyclable, and we should say no to this and carry our own little bag. Even if you have a laptop bag, men can carry the bags. Make a small pouch, put your little bag, a cloth bag in it, and wherever you go, whatever you have to purchase, make sure that you are carrying your own bag, and you refuse to accept a bag that is disposable. So then there's one more thing. People love to wrap their gifts in very shiny covers like these. These are non-recyclable because it's plastic, and also there's a coat of metal in it, and they look nice, but this is something that we need to avoid. All the frills that comes with bouquets, we need to avoid. So we make sure that we give gifts in a paper bag or be creative and use old cloth or something to wrap your gifts, so that you take responsibility that you're not generating that kind of waste. And in South India, I don't know about Punjab, but in South India, when we have weddings, we give a coconut and we give a betel nut and a haldi stick in a bag. Today, people have moved to these PP bags. Again, extremely bad. As I told you, this is polypropylene, non-woven. It cannot be recycled and it starts to disintegrate after some time. So we should completely avoid this. And also, there is this fancy, packets of supari that they put in this. So we tell people, why don't you just put the, supari itself, not the packet, because this sachet nobody ever uses. So it will end up somewhere which may, hurt. They put haldi and kumkum in sachet like this. So small things matter. If we are conscious of each and everything that we are generating as waste, I think we'll go a long way into saying, no to this. So we can use, some tailoring ways to make bags. You can get an NGO to stitch bags for you and use them to give these, return gifts when people come, or a cloth bag. So these are important. And today with COVID, everybody's using, these not reuse, the disposable masks. Instead of that, please start using make your own, or use cloth. This becomes very important for us to understand. These are small things, but it goes a long way for us. So another thing that mostly gets lost is the plastic straw. Many people replace it with a paper straw. Again, this is disposable. See, there is energy, there is resource that is being used to make this. So you drink it once and you dispose, it makes no meaning. So best is to go for a reusable, a steel straw. It's always there in my bag. It's got a lovely brush which you can clean it. It goes round the bend to clean, so you can keep it clean and use these so that you can refuse things that are single use and then disposable. Same way, instead of plastic spoons, have a steel spoon. Wherever you go, you make sure that I have a kit where I carry my tumbler, I carry a steel plate. So wherever I go, I say no to anything. So it's suppose that there is a sandwich offered in this plate, I would refuse because I have a steel plate and I would ask them to give the sandwich in the steel plate. So this is something that we need, because this is non-recyclable. There's paper on one side, there's a metal, so it cannot, paper industry will not take it because you need to separate these two. So again, people say, oh, let's use things that are naturally made, but again, this it takes long time. It has to be shredded to be composted. This is a dry, some leaves they use, so not really good. So I went through a wedding of my son. We celebrated it at zero waste completely. There was no disposable at all. We made sure that we have things that are not something that we throw it and the Mother Earth feels the burden of how to deal with it, because that's what we need to think. Is this something which will naturally the Mother Earth can take care of it, or is it something that will stay and pollute the environment? So another mostly people think that paper cup is eco-friendly. It's paper cup. You get lovely colored paper cups. People give you welcome drinks. They have chai and coffee in this. Unfortunately, this is again non-recyclable because it's good paper. But the thing is, in between two layers of paper, you can see there is a plastic. I put it in my compost bin, and you can see there is a thin polythene which is layered in between two layers of paper. And again, there's wax coated here. You put hot tea into it and you drink the wax you are consuming. So paper cups, absolutely no. So have your steel cups, have a mug. So in offices, everywhere, you make sure that, you completely change that. So another thing that I have moved on to is stop buying, plastic brushes or buds with plastic in between. So I buy only things that are natural. So this is a toothbrush, bamboo toothbrush, and the bamboo sticks for earbuds. So we look at how we consuming things that are much earth friendly, and they are something that we can use. Even the clothes clips that keep breaking, you see, because they are in the sun, they'll break, and this is plastic. So where does this plastic go? So instead, I'm using these are wooden clips and metal clips. So going back to days when we used to have only wooden clips. So sustainability and zero waste is to go reverse gear into your 3 generations back. That's the only way you can talk about sustainability, because that's where a lot of things have been practiced, because we didn't have plastic. We didn't have things that we were disposing. Another practice I have is I say no to a tissue wherever I go. I haven't accepted a tissue for a very long time. People who come to my house also don't get tissues. I have cocktail napkins, which are stitched from old curtains, and these are the ones I can wash and reuse again and again. So you see, in every little way that you can make a difference. The other big movement in Bangalore we have is about sustainable menstruation, where we are looking at how people can stop using disposable sanitary napkins, which are not just polluting the environment but are harmful for us, because there are a lot of toxins, a lot of dyes and everything absorbent material which are not good for us. So when we move away from this and find alternatives to it, like alternatives like cloth pad, using a cloth pad, or using a menstrual cup, which is like a boon to youngsters. Please, all of you who are listening to this, go and look up menstrual cups online. You get a lot of material, you get a lot of videos on how to use it. This is something that keeps you trash free, rash free, and cash free, because you're doing one-time investment. You're not going to buy your sanitary pads monthly, every year, every month over month. So this is something all of us can practice, including children's diapers. Today, disposable diapers are so much. So we can go back to days. You get lovely, colorful, reusable diapers for young children. Very nice, with pads that can be washed and again used, which is good for the baby's skin, and also it's good for the environment. So these are some of the things that I have looked at and we have practiced. Make sure that we refuse all these things, and as far as possible, make sure that we are reusing everything. And after we refuse, still we generate a lot of waste. And then how do we manage that? That's first thing is about segregation. In Bangalore, we went to the court, and the court has told the whole city that three-way segregation is mandatory. People talk about two-way segregation, but we have always said it is the three-way segregation that's very important. Am I audible?
Yes, you're fine, absolutely fine. Yes, go ahead.
Just close this door. No? So it is a 2-bin 1 bag. It's a uniform color-coded segregation system, where you're looking at a green bin that takes all your organic waste from your kitchen. The red bin is the ones that are for reject waste. It's sanitary pads, it's broken glass, hazardous waste, anything that is that can't be recycled. And there's a bag which collects all the recyclables. These are the ones that you keep it clean, because we look at a system. We hope there is a system of collection that's extremely important, which picks them up in different ways. Like there have to be different streams. They cannot be picked together and then dumped in one lorry. So that really doesn't serve any purpose. So when you get people to start segregating their waste, it's extremely important for them to hold back certain kind of waste, especially the dry waste, for a few days. And then we have in Bangalore dry waste collection centers. These are, where every ward has one dry waste collection center. Either we connect with them or go and drop them off. It's not very far. So we go and drop it off into the dry waste collection center. So this makes, it takes a long time. We need political will. We need people to be responsible and be participating in managing the waste of the city. Each and every one, the municipality has to be helped by these. And also we need good systems to be in place. So most people complain, I segregate my waste. But what happens is that they mix it up. The municipality picks it up, but they mix it up. So what do I do? But there should be a proper system, and it has to align to the pickup also. So we hope, at least in my lifetime, that I would see a good system, a robust system, which will, have these different streams of collection. E-waste getting collected, sanitary waste collected separately and going for the incineration. So we need to do all this, and all the recyclable going to the dry waste collection, where you have the informal sector, the rat pickers in Bangalore. All of them have come into a formalized sector. They are no more waste pickers. They are waste managers, because they manage these dry waste collection center. So it's so wonderful to see that that strata of society gets the dignity they need. They don't have to pick waste, but we send it, instead we send it to their center so that they can do their bit. So after segregation, the next step is, the biggest step that each of us can take is to start composting, because composting is one action all of us can take to say that you care for this planet, and that you will do something to mitigate the climate change. Because when you hold back that 60% what we generate out of the total waste that we generate every day, 60% is organic waste, because we eat 3 times a day, right? We eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and there's fresh peels and everything that's coming out from our kitchen. And this is a fantastic resource that should not be lost, because once you send, it gets trapped in these landfills. And these landfills are the ones which are so polluting. So once you understand that, you can hold back and you can actually create something magical with that compost, with that resource, and that is compost. The magical thing that it's called the black gold, and this is available to all of us. It is just, we need to only hone the skill of composting. Composting, there's a science. We don't have to worry about the science, but there is an art of composting which we need to. It's just like cooking. That as we cook, continue cooking the dish a few times, then only we get the understanding the right balance in the food that we cook, and everybody says it's so yummy, so tasty, but not in the first instance. So to get a balance in anything in life, you need to practice it again and again. So composting is something that if you get challenges, you should not stop, because very clearly this is a huge thing that you'll be contributing towards this. So I will take you on a small, a little bit of demo on composting. Simple. We have two kinds of composting. Something that is zero cost. That is, you don't have to spend money. Look at resources in and around your house to make this compost. And so basically, when you talk about composting, there are 5 things that we need to understand. First is the green matter. Second is the brown matter. Third is the microbes. Fourth is the oxygen or the aeration, because this is aerobic composting that I'm talking about. And the last is the container, because today we all live in, I'm not a farmer on the ground, but I'm an urban farmer. I grow food on my terrace. I live on the 3rd floor of an apartment. And so to understand that we need, it is a container. By container, we are actually using containers to do the composting. So let's now take you through the quick way. What are the greens? So the greens are all the lovely kitchen peels. This is not garbage. It's something that I have eaten. It is so fresh and so good that if you throw this out, I think it's criminal, because this resource has to be converted into something that builds soil. Because today, with agriculture going so much away from natural, growing food naturally, it's become with fertilizers, chemical pesticides. It is toxic on our plate. We are having poison on our plate. So it's very important for us to return this to make a living soil. So living soil is alive. It has all the nutrients that a plant will need, which in turn will nourish us, because that's where food has to be grown, in a living soil. So that is why I call it very criminal if we throw away a fantastic resource. It's your fruit peels, it's your vegetable peels, anything that we have eaten can go back to build that soil, that amazing soil. So this is the green part. It's high in nitrogen and it is extremely wet. So the first tip is you put it in a colander like this, so that you drain out the extra water that comes off the vegetable, because you're trying to minimize the extra water that is. Because as this starts to break down, there's so much of moisture content that your pile shouldn't get too wet, because there again, I'm talking about the balance. So the balance between the greens and the browns. So what are the browns? So now we have taken the greens, which is nitrogenous stuff and which is high in water. The second is the browns. The browns, the easiest browns that you can get, and the most important is the dry leaves. This is a resource that gets lost. People burn it, people sweep it away. They want manicured lawns. They don't want, things that it looks like rubbish for them. this is carbon. This is carbon material that again needs to go back to soil. And when you compost, you're looking at a soil which has a C/N ratio. That is the carbon and the nitrogen ratio. So as I told you, this is the this gives the nitrogen component, and the dry leaves give the carbon component. So when people don't have dry leaves are available everywhere. Please shed dry leaves. We need to collect them, so that we can keep this fantastic resource from getting burned and again polluting. When you burn dry leaves, it is carcinogenic and it is not good for us. So we should avoid people from burning these. So when people don't have dry leaves, if they don't have, there are other alternates to dry leaves. It could be sawdust. You can use sawdust from the sawmill, not from the carpenters, because that has a lot of chemicals. It's treated wood. And then cocoa peat is another thing, the dust from the coconut industry, the coconut fiber industry. And then the last resort could be cardboard. So we get a lot of packaging. So shred cardboard if you don't have leaves. If you have dry leaves, if you can collect dry leaves in and around your house, we have to use that amazing resource so that it does not get lost. On your part, you're holding it back so that it does not get lost. So cardboard is the last one. So then when you mix these two, then the third thing I told you is microbes. So microbes in the natural world, it takes care of the breakdown of organic matter. Where you go to a forest, it's so lush, it's so green, because there is a natural recycling happening there. So you have leaves fall, the rotten fruits fall, the birds and the animals eat the fruits and they drop the fruits. So the forest floor is brimming with life. When you shift the forest floor, you will see, earthworms, insects, ants. You'll see life there. So this is where the natural recycling happens. So, but in an urban scenario, we just forget that we need to use all this, and so we need to mimic that, because the forest floor has so much of microorganisms that break it down along with other insects and worms. We need to mimic that. So one of the ways for an aerobic composting, to add is the simplest. I love to use, nice desi cow dung in my composting. It's a fantastic way to introduce microorganisms into your compost, fresh desi cow dung. The other one, which is easily and simply found at home, is curd. You take a bowl of curd, probably leave it for 2-3 days. It becomes very sour, kata. Now, once the curd becomes kata, make a little bit of buttermilk in it and keep it. And this you can add to your compost, and that adds, it's like a culture. You're adding culture to it. So that's something that you can mix with your compost, and then, with your fresh waste, and that adds culture. And the fourth thing is oxygen. So in any aerobic composting pile, if oxygen is starved on the lower parts, then it becomes anaerobic. So it starts to smell. So the microorganisms which are breaking down your waste will turn anaerobic because there is no oxygen. So turning the pile once in a while is introducing oxygen. So when you mix up your pile, if suppose you have kept it in a big leave it pot or in a bucket or wherever you're composting, so turning the pile once in 4-5 days, make sure that it does not smell, because most people stop composting because they say it started to stink, it's smelling, bahut baas aata hai, and all that. So that is something that we can avoid by turning the pile. And also make sure there's no excess moisture. So if the pile is too wet, that means your dry leaves were less or the browns were less. If suppose the pile became too dry, that means your greens were less. So you get the balance as you experiment with composting. So to me, composting is very experimental. Unless you go through the process, find the challenges, fail, then only you learn. So for me, like in life, composting, first time composting was a horrible failure, but I didn't want to send it to the landfill. So I had a great reason why I'm composting. And that's the reason why I continue composting, because I honed the skill by continuing in spite of the challenge, in spite of a failure. So that's where it doesn't let you stop, but it lets you, get a fantastic benefit that I create this amazing black gold. This is sweet smelling. It's a living soil that I make. So I'll just show you a quick process. So when you when I put my waste into my compost bin. And the last thing is the container. The container can be, this is just a, I'm just showing you a small one. You can take a large terracotta container, that breathes. So make sure that it's got a good lid. Make sure that it's having a lid and it's breathing. Or you can take a bucket. You can take any bucket, paint bucket or something like that for composting. So I'll just show you a small demo. When you take a bucket, you make sure that you put your kitchen waste into this. This is a well-drained kitchen waste. Add the dry leaves, right? So when you mix the dry leaves with the kitchen waste, it does not compact. So the dry leaves get in between the waste and it does not compact. So then you add a little bit of the sour buttermilk, just maybe 1 tablespoon or 1.5 tablespoon. Mix it well. Take any bucket, add dry leaves at the bottom. So you can add the cocoa peat, dry leaves, maybe some cardboard. Just add on the bottom so that any extra moisture comes, it absorbs. So now you have the browns, you have the greens, and you have the microbes. You have the microbes. Sorry, I'm so sorry. So you have the microbes, so mix them up and then you put it into your bin. So this is the first day's waste. So continue, repeat the same process, and once in 4 days, if suppose it's 5th day, you just give it a turn from the bottom. I'm using my hands because it's my kitchen waste. You can wear a gloves, you can take a stick, and turn it, take a rake and turn it. So you can do it how is comfortable for you. So this is after 45 days, when you use dry leaves and this kind of microbes, after 45 days is what you get this amazing black mold. It's sweet smelling, it's moist, and it is so beautiful. It's the black gold, and this you add it to your soil and you grow anything that you want. You can grow your greens, you can grow your chilies, your tomatoes. So whatever little space you have, you can grow anything and everything that you want. So composting is a very simple process, but it takes time for people to understand. And because we wanted more people to compost, so we introduced a kit. When I'm a part of a group called SWMRT, Solid Waste Management Roundtable, and a few years back we wanted all the urbanites to give a try on composting. So we give them a 1-week challenge with a campaign called Swachhagraha. You can check out swachhagraha.in on our website. And this Swachhagraha, we introduced a brick. This brick has both the browns and the microbes. It has 10 different kinds of microbes. So it also takes non-veg waste. Usually in aerobic composting, we don't put non-veg waste, and dairy and non-veg is not put mostly. But then this allows you to, because there are 10 different kinds of microbes. This is a cocoa peat brick that comes in a brown in a cover, and you can see it's cocoa peat. The brick is cocoa peat brick. So you soak it in water and you can layer with this. So there's more information if you go to our SWMRT website. You have a lot of information on this. So this is about composting. Composting is something that all of us can try. There is aerobic composting, anaerobic composting. I do bokashi composting. So there are different types. I do vermicomposting. So I have 2 worm bins right here in my balcony. And my terrace, there are different systems of composting. So for me, I keep it all alive because I have a lot of people who come to visit me to learn more. So it's about sharing practice. I am no expert. I have just understood composting, the art of composting, and I do the way it's naturally done. So there are issues of maggots. People say, oh, I have a lot of maggots and they are creepy crawlies, and I say they are part of the ecosystem. You're building an ecosystem that is like the biodiversity. There are earthworms, there are insects, there are microbes, there are maggots. Everything together actually do their job. So composting is very exciting. It makes you feel good because you on your part actually do that magical compost and grow your own food. So that's one thing about composting. The next thing I want to talk to you all about is bioenzymes. This is another thing that when we discharge chemicals from our homes, There is so much of that's getting into our waterways, and it's not good for also. All the cleaning fluids in our homes are all chemical based. So I have, for the past 2.5 to 3 years, I have moved to non-chemical cleaners at home. So be it cleaning the bathroom, your kitchen, your tiles, and even my hair, there is no shampoo that I use. So I'm using only non-chemical. So bioenzyme is another thing that we have replaced. So this is most sustainable way of going back to natural cleaners. These enzymes are as good as any other sanitizers. I'm not talking about the sanitizers we're using for COVID, but this is for home cleaning. So you can use this. This is like the citrus peels. We use a lot of citrus peels, which are musambi, lemon, orange. These peels, you soak them in water. There is a particular formula for this. Not a formula, but a process, that is 1:3:10. 1 part of jaggery, we take 1 part of jaggery, and 3 parts of citrus peels, and 10 parts of water. And we take a plastic bottle, because this is a fermentation method. If you don't put these yeast, there are dry yeast that you can put. If you don't put dry yeast, it takes 3 months for us to get this enzyme. It's an enzyme. But if you want to hasten the process, and if you want it to happen faster, then you add a little bit of dry yeast. So you just put it in a plastic bottle. I put 1 liter of water, 300 grams of citrus peels, and 100 grams of jaggery. So 100 grams jaggery, 300 grams peels, and 1 liter water is this. So I collect all my citrus peels in my refrigerator, because they have to look fresh. They have to be fresh. And then you put them in a plastic bottle, because the gas gets filled up here, because it's a fermentation method. Every morning you release the gas and again close it tightly. So once it is 1 month done, then you remove the liquid part, and this is the bioenzyme. This bioenzyme is my all-purpose cleaner at home. It mops. I dilute it in my mopping water. It mops my floor. I put it in a spray can and spray on my tiles, on my stove. I clean all of that. Everywhere in the bathroom, the strong liquid, you can put it in the bathroom, in the toilet cleaning. Any cleaning, it is very good. It's citrusy smell. It feels nice. And that's something that I have been using, and we all talk about it all the time. A lot of people are converting into, wanting to do bioenzymes at home. So you can see the peels don't get wasted. So you can convert them into this amazing, all-purpose cleaner. Another thing that I use is soap nuts. This is Rita that I use for my hair. And I also, the Rita, when you soak it in water, in hot water, and it gets a lot of, it is a soap, it's like a soap solution. So this has replaced all my shampoos. Along with the Rita, I also add the bioenzyme as a conditioner for hair wash. And this Rita also is liquid detergent for my laundry. It's also for my dishwash. So you can see multi-purpose use of natural substances that, you're going back to days when your grandmothers never had any shampoo to use. They were using ash and shikakai. So I use natural fiber to scrub my vessels, all my buttons, and this is ash and shikakai in this, which with a natural coir I mix, so that even I don't get those scotch brite, because as they start to break down, they go into the waterways. You get small particles that break down into such small things, and it stays in the waterways. It will never ever disappear. It just becomes smaller and smaller. So these are a few things that has helped me to feel good about being light on this, walk lightly on this planet. This planet deserves people who care for it, and that's it's available to all of us. So waste management, trying to be zero waste, is something that you can never be zero waste. Every time you learn something new, you can always replace. So I have actually, to be zero waste, I have looked at how I can source my food. I grow some of my food, but how do I source my food? That is through CSA, where farmers who are growing food with natural methods of cultivation, agriculture, I source it from them. It's a community supported agriculture. I'm a part of it. It's a subscription base. We give money upfront so that the farmer has enough money to buy his seeds, all his produce or whatever he needs for the farm labor. He has it, they're all small scale farmers. They group together and they send us weekly vegetable basket and fruit basket, where we know whatever he sends, he's local, he's seasonal, he's regional, he grows only regional vegetables, nothing exotic like a broccoli or something like that. So whatever he grows is safe for me, and that's what I want to use. And this is an amazing way. And also I send my own for oil, cold pressed oil, I'll send a can, and then I send they send groceries in cloth bags. So you're cutting down on packaging. And I send my dabbas, so that they can send tamarind and other, jaggery. Everything is organic is a very new word. I don't like using it because it looks at as if it is very expensive and all that. A lot of people say, oh, organic food is very expensive, but then they don't realize that they're putting cheap food in their mouth. When you say organic is expensive, then you look at the other side, it is cheap food that you're buying. It's monoculture. It's grown in large scale. A lot of pesticides are used so that, they can protect their crop. So there is no, there is the concept of agriculture that traditionally has been passed down has been completely, gone. So we need to understand the food that we put into our body has to be something that nourishes us and keeps us, the immunity, gives us good health, and every aspect of our life has to be around that. So this is something that I have been practicing. So I also I run a plate bank. I told you that I had a zero waste celebration with my son's wedding, and that was last year. And I also have a plate bank where for small functions in my circles, in my friends and family, I give it to them. I have 100 plates, 100 tumblers, 100 katoris, spoons, and also napkins, cloth napkins. So they use it for their function so that they don't generate anything that is waste. So these are things, small steps, and slowly evolve. It doesn't happen all of a sudden, but we have to be on the right track. With this, I conclude, and I thank all of you for being a part of this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mrs. Murthy. It was really wonderful talk, and you have enlightened us with so many interesting things. I was expecting you will be talking more on the composting, but you have actually exceeded far, and you covered so many things. And majority of the things that you spoke, those are exact my interest as well, personally speaking. And in my YouTube channel also, many things I have featured. For example, the last thing you touched upon is on the microplastic. So I have covered so many things on the microplastic pollution on the planet Earth. And I was also part of the Indian Antarctic mission. So in Antarctica, the penguins are suffering the infertility all because of microplastic pollution. Exactly. And the cup, you said that I have featured that the cup has got a plastic lining and wax which melts, and it releases something called phthalate. And that is a cancer-causing chemical, and still people do that and blindly follow what is actually the others are following without actually realizing the mistake. And I'm really happy that you even covered the very important issue of menstrual pads, M-cup, as well as baby diapers, because I've noticed that these are actually causing, these are the real issues that nobody is talking about. M-cup especially is a menstrual cup, the silicone cups, tremendously reduce the waste, and it has to be adopted so widely. I totally support your cause. It's absolutely fantastic talk. And yes, so I was relating earlier with the Nassim Taleb, and he is also a champion of tinkering. Fail better to progress. So you also had the fail episode. I totally enjoyed listening to your personal anecdotes about failing. I am also very new to the composting. Just started a few weeks back, only during this lockdown period, and I'm very happy about it. But of course, I'm still learning. Of course, I'm failing, and only through the fail we can learn it, right? So we have got very interesting questions in the poll. And one of the questions is by Mr. Ramakrishna from Varanasi is asking a very interesting question about compost, the bin that you use for composting. Will you be using plastic, or what kind of bin is, he's asking that he has seen one of in your video, you're actually rotating the bin. I've also seen that. So will you suggest to go with that kind of bin, or is just normal plastic bin is fine, like bucket is fine?
Well, you can be as creative as you want. You can use DIYs. You can make your own bins. So there's no compulsion. You can buy matkas. You can buy anything that you want. See, you don't want to invest in the beginning. You want to give it a try, see how your composting goes, understand, I need more space because you generate waste every day. So one bin won't be enough. So you'll need multiple bins. So that's how you start small. First understand composting, then look, the market is flooded with lot of stuff that you can look. If you look at composting systems, you will see in Bangalore we have Daily Dump, which has been pioneering composting systems. So there are multiple things. These rotating drums are very convenient because they're turning the pile, to keep it homogeneous, not get it too soggy at the bottom, helps. So there are different types. So there's nothing. I am vendor neutral. I don't suggest anybody, but I think you have to research and find out what is good for you, your infrastructure, how much space you have, depending on that.
Over to Dr. Kriti. Would you like to ask a question?
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for your wonderful talk and some nice home remedies. I want to ask one question from Ms. Muskan. So, are the landfills the best way of disposing e-waste?
E-waste actually you have to give to an authorized dealer. So we have points in Bangalore where we go and drop it off. Sahas is one of the, they do an amazing job picking up e-waste. They have a system of collection. So most communities, they keep e-waste separately and, collect it over a period of time and they come and pick it up. So you have to divert it, because if it goes into an unorganized sector, they put children into, doing things to remove from the e-waste, not good for kids. So we need to make sure authorized collection happens. So we need to connect to it.
Thank you, ma'am. Now this question is from my side, right? Could you please tell us the ratio of that curd and water which you make for adding in the...
No ratio. It's like, even if it's thick, if it's thin, it doesn't matter. See, the thing is, you're introducing microorganisms for the first few days till the microbial load increases in your compost pile, because they multiply. They have food to eat. You have given them a proper, environment. There is food there. There's browns. There's greens. Everything is ready for them. So they multiply. They colonize, and then that's it. So there is nothing like, even if you put a little thick curd, doesn't matter. So I say little liquid because it will last for some time, at least till you finish the first week. When you're starting, you can add every day just to increase the microbial load.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now I Dr. Alex.
Yes, so let me pick up one question, and this question is by Neha Gandotra. Neha is asking, any other way for replacing stubble burning, as this is a major problem in Punjab, causing severe air pollution in winters? I think you have already touched upon this issue because the leaves, when you were talking about the leaves, people burn simply waste that resources, and even it causes a cancer. Indeed, carbon monoxide is being produced because of the partial burning. And now this stubble burning is a major issue in North India, especially, and of course here in Punjab, because of the stubble from the paddy fields are burned, yes, without any thought. So do you think the composting could be a good solution for it?
Absolutely, it's biomass. See, biomass is the thing that needs to go back to soil. So today there is no natural farming methods. Most of them are using fertilizers. So I think this becomes waste for them and they're burning it. So another thing, I recently met a person who does from the stubble, she makes fibers and she does, fabric, and she does curtains, carpets and all that. So waste can always be converted instead of burning, and it's becoming very productive. So you're moving it to a productive line instead of burning it. So there are different ways. And yeah, the only thing is we have to go back to natural farming methods, increase the, the productivity of our soil, where we are having a living soil. That's forgotten. So that's something that, I don't know, that needs to shift now.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would ask the question from Indushri Maharana. How can integrated waste management systems be applied in a sustainable manner in India?
Well, it needs to have everybody involved. You need a political will. You need a robust municipality and active citizens. So when these three things come together, I think we can create magic. because there are recently one of our team members went to Siddipet in Telangana, and the MLA, who was also a minister, was extremely keen to completely change the waste management there, and they put all systems in place, and today it will be like a model. In Bangalore itself, we have one area in HSR where we have a park which is like a learning center. We call it the Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra. It's a place where you learn. So it has every composting system, set up there, working model. And there is also about, growing your own food, community gardening. So there, all the residents, they send their waste to this place. There is good pickup. They segregate their waste. So basically, we need to understand that waste, you should recognize what your waste is, and you should put them into different categories. Then recycling is happening, then resource recovery happens, and that is where I think the most problems are solved. So it has to align, as an individual doing, as an institution doing, it has to align with a good, robust pickup, that it should not again go to the landfill. They should have proper systems. They have to put the composting, large scale composting, whatever, or whatever. And I think all this helps. You need, in every way you have to come. See, to me, I have been in the space of being a homemaker and talking about composting and about, trying to live sustainably, trying to make sure that you eat safe. So our Swachhagraha is all about the three, green spots in your home. First you compost, then you grow your own food. You can't grow all your food, but you grow something. And the last is, to eat safe food. So I have dwelled in this. So there are many people in my team who are with the policy, they influence the policy, they work with the municipality. So we have our own kind of areas where we work at. Yeah.
So let me ask you now. Yes, so I still remember that you have shown that your peels, and then you're saying it's not really a waste. And exactly, that's an amazing philosophy. I also nowadays, when I throw out a banana peel, I feel that, okay, this is going to be a food for my pet earthworms in my bin. That is exactly, that is something like a meditation. That is something like mindfulness, being mindful of our own existence. That is amazing philosophy. I really congratulate you for this dwelling upon. And one of my earlier questions is by Muskan Saho. It has already been taken up by Dr. Kriti about the e-waste. I would like to add that we have a separate session on e-waste tomorrow. So please stay tuned. It is by Dr. Nikhil from IIT Roorkee, an INEAS fellow. He is going to talk all about the e-waste management. And now I would like to pick a question by Dr. Harsimran Kaur. Reusing sanitary pads and diapers can cause a lot of water wastage. So how can we balance both zero waste and minimum water loss? I think she's touching upon the topic of the water recycling as well. Yes.
Well, we wash our clothes, don't we? We wash our vessels, we wash our hands. So I don't think that's an argument that will stand, because basically you're looking at keeping yourself safe. Babies, diapers are, it's not good for their skin. It's made with materials which are not good. There are chemicals in that which can react with the child. Rashes. Diaper rashes, sanitary wear. When you put sanitary pads, there are rashes. Women have all kinds of problems. In fact, a lot of women say that they have overcome their menstrual cramps, PCOD. Everything is on the reversal when they start using things that are safe for them. So I don't think an argument about washing, waste of water will ever stand, because anything that is reusable will need water. But again, when they make that, there's so much of water used in manufacture itself. So when the product is made, if you suppose there is a bottle water, just to make that bottle water from the, you extract oil from the ground, you make from petroleum, you make plastic, you put in chemicals, you make the bottle, you fill the bottle. How much of energy is used? So when you look at any product, so much of energy used on it, and then we talk about wasting water because we don't want to wash it, because it's convenient. Most people who argue about this is it is convenient for them. They can just use and throw. They don't have to wash. They don't have to waste time, on it. Not just water. They'll waste their time also on it. So I don't think that argument stays when it comes to the, when you really look at caring, because how much of sanitary pads land up and it stays on the planet for so long. It's a contaminated waste. Think of the waste pickers, the people who are working in waste, areas. They have to handle all this. See, needs to be sensitization. Waste is such a topic where unless you have to imbibe, waste is something that I need to understand. Waste is something that I need to, look at as a good resource, and how do I reduce it and then make my planet, less burdensome. It's a burden. When you're throwing out waste, it's a burden on this planet.
Yes, I totally agree with that point, and it's very things that you added upon, especially on the folly of that argument is, again, it's very clear to say that when we are in toilet, why don't we actually use the tissue paper, instead of wasting the water? So if that is the argument, so of course that doesn't stand sound. So basically, yeah, it's of course the water is a precious resource, no question about it. But yes, of course, we have to actually look at the sustainable solutions to reduce the waste. Over to you, ma'am, or Dr. Kriti. It looks like there is some problem. So let me pick up one more question here. So how can we manage fruit and vegetable decomposition along with avoiding its foul smell, which is also a problem for our home decomposition practice? I think it's about the anaerobic digestion. Maybe Neha is asking about. So yeah, to increase the aerobes, right?
Smell is one of the biggest challenges people have. So when you do the process the right way, when you have the right balance of the browns and the greens, the greens are very wet. So when they start to decompose, they compact. So when they compact, air won't pass, and where air doesn't pass, there's no oxygen available for the microorganisms. They turn anaerobic, and that's where the smell comes. So the pile has to be breathing. Every time you look at your pile, you make sure that it is breathing like us. It needs to breathe. So there is enough oxygen circulation. Probably put small holes on the bucket, make sure that it is breathing. The bucket is also breathing. So that's how we need to manage. So in the first instance, even if you get very smelly, you should know it lacked oxygen and it became too wet. It was not moist. The pile has to be moist because moisture is extremely important for the microorganisms to colonize, for them to multiply. So for that, we need to make sure there is a good balance. And the balance comes only in giving it a try. I cannot tell you put this much of wet waste and that much, because everybody's wet waste is very different. The composition of wet waste is very different. Some people it's very dry. Some people who eat lot of papaya, melon and all, it's so wet. There's so much of water content in that. So we need to give it. For me, composting is an experiment. You think it's a lab, that corner is a lab, that you're looking at an experiment, and then you're looking at how you can repeat the experiment again and again till you get understanding that it is doing well and I'm getting this amazing black hole.
Great. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Kriti.
Yeah, there is one question from Rashmika. Waste generated on individuals are much less than that generated by factories. How can we grab attention of the concerned authorities onto this zero waste matter?
Yeah, not just factories, even big apartment complexes, everybody generates waste. So it all depends on different kinds of waste. Some factories develop, have toxic waste. So you need the pollution control board that needs to, keep an eye on them. And any generator has to look at, how he's going to, divert it away from harming the planet. So, any waste that is generated, it has to be put into its different categories. So segregation at source, between a good recyclable waste to a toxic and a harmful waste has to be, seen. And of course, you need to put proper policies and get them all to, start doing their bit.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Now there is one question from Khushpreet Dandivals. Is there any way to deal with the garbage hills standing high outside megacities?
Don't contribute to it. So, what really happens? It accumulates, over a period of time, and every time there's fresh waste that's going. Sometimes they cap it, but still it keeps, emitting methane. The only thing is say no to landfill. So we should not, contribute to a landfill. So if each citizen says, I'm not contributing to a mess, I think my waste is my responsibility should be the hashtag. That's been our hashtag. My waste is my responsibility. In Kannada, we say nan kasa, nan jawabdari. That is, it's my jawabdari. So this has been a hashtag, and hundreds and thousands and lakhs of people have taken the responsibility. I think it needs a movement. It needs people to be engaged. You need proper communication, good, use social media. So great that you all are doing this, over this, so that, if you had a conference, only limited people would have. Now that you are on, on a social media, you're taking it live on YouTube, you'll have more participants, you can share those videos. So I think we need, as people who are working, we all call ourselves eco nuts. We dived into garbage, and we still haven't surfaced because there's so much garbage. It has not cleared yet. So we are still deep there, and we need to surface. So we need to clear up the garbage. So there is so much to do from each of us. Yeah, it's a conscious effort.
Amazing. Yes, amazing talk, Mrs. Murthy. I really am humbled to have you here today with us. And yesterday, actually, I just to tell you, I cut my nails yesterday. The fingernails and toenails, and even I was just thinking, oh well, these are organic. Why not composting? Then I searched out. Yes, it's a nitrogen source. And today morning I cut my hair. COVID-19 situation. I'm turning myself. Everybody is cutting their own hair. Even hair, I was so amazed to see it's a good composting material for nitrogen. And I think this sustainability should actually continue. That the momentum that we got it during whatever we learned during the last few days of, few months, I would say, of the lockdown period, we should put that momentum towards the future. And I really congratulate your effort on it, and to make the masses, appreciate, the sustainability and all these UN sustainability development goals that academicians are actually saying years and years, but without any practical impacts. But people like you are really bringing positive changes to the society. I'm really thankful for you to come here today. And I also want to end this small session. It has actually went a little bit off-shooted, our time commitment. Apologies for that. But I would like to end this session with the same oath that the TEDx, how the TEDx have ended. So I really want you to actually, whoever is participating live, let us all take that oath of the 1 week no organic waste compost challenge. So yes, over to you.
Yes, take the challenge, because as I said, it's an experiment. So take a 1 week challenge that you're not sending your waste out to the landfill, and see what happens to it. Go online, look up material, do your best to understand that composting is an amazing action that you can all take, and give yourself a try. I think that's important, that we give it a try. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, so yeah, I invite all of you to take this challenge for 1 week, no organic waste, and try to minimize the waste. So this could be our best, best gift to the nature, the planet Earth, Mother Earth. We have only one home, that is the pale blue planet. So let us do a little bit, the favor to our own planet by minimizing the waste. And let us join this oath for the next 1 week. No organic waste. It will not go to the trash can. We will actually recycle it, and we will actually convert that into the black gold. Over to you, Dr. Kriti.
Thank you so much for sharing your nice home remedies regarding the zero waste and composting and all that peel stuff, and that cleaners for the houses are really the solutions for the cleaners. And we used to just go to the market and buy Lysol and all that stuff, and moreover they are also affecting our marble quality also. I think this is a very good solution to the all that stuff. Now thank you so much, ma'am. Now
Yes.
Yeah,
thank you so much for this platform. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you, Kriti, and also Felix. Yeah,
thank you, ma'am. Now, our next talk is at 12:30 p.m. by Rajpal Makhni from Nabha. He will going to talk about the farming practices and waste management in the Punjab.
So I can just add on. It's at 12:30. It's only now. Right now it is 12:11. I can see in my watch. So yeah, 12:11. So 12:30 means we have only 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes. So you can have a quick tea. I'm sorry, I cannot offer you a quick tea or coffee, but please go to your kitchen, serve yourself, and we will be right back just after 20 minutes. So we will start the next session at exactly 12:30. So see you all at 12:30. Goodbye all.